Hey everybody, welcome back to the Manufacturing Alliance podcast. As always, I'm your host, Tony Demakis with Alliance Specialties and Laser Sales. This podcast is for everybody that's in manufacturing. Our goal is to tell stories of U.S. manufacturers, whether that's mold makers, molders, welders, polishers. If you're building equipment, if you're building lighting, if you're doing it in the United States, we want to talk to you and tell your story because we think there's a story there to be told. And we're incredibly proud to be part of this industry, part of this all-encompassing world that is makers and builders in the United States. And it's incredibly important for us, and it's incredibly important to you. And we believe that that story needs to be told to the people out there in the world that are, just taking things for granted, taking products for granted that we are putting an effort into making. So I am glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're part of the show with us. And I hope that you would like to share this on with other people and allow us to broaden out and tell the story of what's happening in this country when it comes to making products for us and for the world. So that's the show. As I said, I'm Tony with Alliance Specialties and Laser Sales, where we are your mold makers that don't build molds. So that means that we are a hub for mold making as a whole. That means we do the polishing, the laser welding, the laser engraving, hot runner manifold repair, preventative mold maintenance, all those things that mold makers don't really have time to do when they're busy or don't want to do. That's what we're here for. We don't want to build molds. That's not what we want to do. We want to fix them, get them up and running and ready for you. So that's how we can work together. That's a little bit of our synergy. We also have a division of our company that focuses on laser welding and laser engraving equipment, building, engineering, creating, selling, and putting it out there. So everything from high run production welding systems using KUKA robots and UR robots to, welding for repair. We've got all of that, and we make it all here in Illinois in our facility just down the road. So that's us in a nutshell. If you would like to learn more about what we do or some of our equipment, you can send me an email at tony@alliancelasersales.com, and we'll be happy to talk with you and tell you all the things that we do. Moving on to the next piece of business, our golf outing is coming up. It's September 24th. It's the day after Amerimold. Amerimold is one of the industry's best, in my opinion, trade shows for mold makers and mold builders. Why do I think it's so good? Because it's smaller. Now, that could seem like a little bit of an oxymoron, but I like the smaller shows because it's easier to connect with people. It's easier to build a relationship and a rapport, and you remember who you talk to. It's not this giant monster of a thing where, you talk to a million people and you don't remember what any of it is. It's a nice, small, intimate show. It's going to be here in Chicagoland, and we're looking forward to seeing you. Now, we are in Chicago. We don't know what's going to happen with the trade show, but I will tell you this. No matter what happens with the trade show, the golf outing will be happening. So September 24th, we are having a golf outing. All of the proceeds to that outing will be going to our friends at iWarriors, the team at iWarriors who takes care of our combat wounded veterans. So be part of our outing. In order to get information for that, you can go to alliancelasersales.com/golf, and you can register. You can get all the details, and we look forward to seeing you there. Last but not least, the show is for everybody that's watching. So if you are listening, you are watching, you want to be part of the show, go ahead and put questions, comments, and feedback in the chat. Doesn't matter if you're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, whatever it is, put that in the chat, and we will be happy to talk to those points and take your questions, your comments, and make that part of the show, because that's what we want to do. We want to hear from you. And the guy I got on today, I don't know if there's going to be any questions or comments because he seems to ask them all the time, which is great. I love him. And he's been in the industry for quite a while. He's doing things on his own now. He is part of the SPE Mold Technologies division with me. I'm going to bring in my guy Richard Evans, and we're gonna talk to him a little bit. So, Richard, how are you, my friend?
Great, Tony. How you doing?
I'm good. Now you're on this side of the camera. You can't hide. You can't just type in questions. You gotta have full-on conversations.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit different. It's my weekly ritual to tune in and listen to you talk to people. And now after several months of doing that. I'm on the other side of it and actually doing the talking.
The only advice I give you is if you go back and listen to it later, because I mean, it's inevitable. You want to hear how it sounded and everything. Be easy on yourself because nobody likes the way they sound. And it's real easy to tear yourself up and be like, I am never doing that again.
Yeah, I'm probably just not going to watch it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a solid plan too. I it's nice now that Mary Kate is doing all the editing and all of the production side of it. I haven't listened to or watched any of them besides the one that Glenn Starkey did with my father a couple weeks ago because I feel like I'm living it. I don't need to hear it again. But I'm very glad that she's doing it because I believe it or not, I get tired of hearing myself and seeing myself, and I don't want to do that. So I'm glad that she gets to hear my voice all the time.
Well, this is the first podcast I've ever been on, so we'll see.
Congratulations, you're a virgin podcaster.
Yeah, thank you.
I promise this will be easy. Nobody listens anyways. That's fine. It's just two friends talking.
Yeah, that's what I like about the podcast, to be honest with you. I mean, to me, it's more like two people just really just talking about mold making and experience, their experiences, what their goals are, whatever. I mean, it sounds more like just two people having a casual conversation than some podcasts you listen to. To be honest with you, I turn them off because they're too formal and whatever. So
I don't think we're ever going to be accused of being too formal. That's not that's not one of those fears we have, but
that's a good goal to have.
Yeah, but I want people to get to know who you are. So Richard Evans from RPS, Reaction Plastic Solutions. I mean, you've been in the industry for quite a little while. Why don't you tell people a little bit about your story?
Yeah, I started when I was 17. Back in '99, I was a junior in high school. I guess I started by luck or accident. I don't know how you would describe it, but the guidance counselor at my school was friends with my mother, and I was raised on a tobacco farm, a cattle farm, and didn't really have any goals for after school. What I wanted to do, I was real big into racing motorcycles, big into motocross, and I thought when I graduated high school that would be something that made me money. Not sure how that would have worked out yet, but my guidance counselor set up a meeting for my mother and I to go visit Ameritech Dye and Mold in Mooresville. And we went and we met with Steve Rotman. I think I actually went after hours or on a Saturday or something because there was nobody there. He gave us a tour of the shop, and walking in, I pretty much knew nothing about the industry. I didn't know anything about molds or CNC machinery, anything like that. I knew I liked to work with my hands. Growing up on the farm, we always tinkered with stuff and had Jeeps and jacked up Jeeps for playing in the mud, and motorcycles. I was rebuilding top end kits on my motorcycle when I was 15. That's the kind of stuff that interested me, and not necessarily being in class all day and writing essays or whatever it is. And college wasn't something I really wanted to do. So I got involved in the Apprenticeship 2000 program during my senior year at high school, and worked a half a day and went to school half a day, and I learned the trade from experienced mold makers that were doing it every day. Some of it was grunt work. I drove the truck, I mowed the grass and cleaned machines just like everybody else. But I think that's just how it was then. There was a lot of grunt work that came along with it.
So you were doing that at Ameritech with Steve?
Yep. Yeah, that's where I first got my taste of the industry, was at Ameritech.
So does he still have that high school apprenticeship program there? Do you know?
Yeah, and to be honest with you, that's what probably influenced my opinion on the trade so much, was working in a shop like Ameritech. I mean, if you go visit their shop today, the shop is still very high percentage of the employees there came through the apprenticeship program. It's probably one of the most youthful shops that you'll go to.
Nice.
There's apprentices that that came in under me that I helped train on a CNC machine. That's helping run daily operations on the floor and doing scheduling. I mean, they have a very young workforce there, which is great in my opinion. I'd like to see a lot more of that. As something that I personally feel very strongly about. Something about coming into the industry and having that desire to learn when you're young, learning from experienced people, but also having that, I guess, that youthful stupidity of thinking that you can figure out other ways to do stuff that's
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Because in the end, there are better ways to do stuff. And there's a lot of times that the young people come up with creative ideas that, a lot of the older guys, when I was coming up in the trade, one of the things I remember the most was buying a new machine that, was a 3+2 axis machine that, it was a high speed machine. It was one of the, the best machines in the shop. And, I was given the opportunity to learn to run it, and learn. We also got new CAD or CAM program software at the same time. And, it was myself that got to learn to run the software and the machine. And, we just completely changed our methods of doing things. And it,
Yeah.
it didn't sit well with some of the older generation. And, I hope I'm never that way where I'm in that whole, this is how I've always done it. This is how I'm always going to do it
That is my
mentality.
least favorite phrase ever. It makes my skin crawl every time I hear it because, we used to have, Model A cars. They're way
Yeah.
better now. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you have to stay in that spot. Used to have a 32-inch TV used to be luxury, and it was just
Right.
this giant box, and the picture sucked. And if we did everything the way that we used to, we wouldn't have the stuff we have today. And I think what you're saying is so critically important to be able to listen to the people around you, whether you're senior or whether you're junior. Take advice and learn from those people around you. And I would assume, I don't want to stay on Ameritech too much, but I would assume that Steve and his crew are very much like that because they are pouring into the youth so much. And, from what I know of Steve and being able to hang out with him at different events, he's just such an authentic, genuine guy.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's
He's,
still someone I would consider a close friend. Him and I actually just talked probably about a month ago, and he's somebody that I would consider someone that I trust in the business. Someone I would consider like a mentor of mine through the years. That
yeah,
somebody I talked to when I thought about going into business for myself. He's someone that I bounced some ideas off of and talked to a little bit, and he's definitely one to invest in the company, put back into the company. In technology and the people, and by people, I mean the apprenticeship program. So no, it's a great, great operation. It's something that, I personally would like to get involved with some sort of way with an apprenticeship program or an organization that I could just donate time somehow to offer my what I know about mold making and mold design and whatnot to just, to help out that cause. Hopefully the SPE is going to be that start of that. I'm hoping.
yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
Well, in the SPE, we've talked about it a little bit. You're on the board with me and Scott and the whole team, and we've got some big plans for things that we want to do. That's hopefully going to shake things up a little bit. But there's a lot of steps that gotta come in between there. But the goal of this thing that we're doing there is to let people in a little bit into what mold making is and what that process looks like and how it's a very viable and rewarding career path for somebody that doesn't really know what they want to do with their lives. And
Yeah, it's not
so,
a dirty environment working in a dark room like
yeah,
so much manufacturing is portrayed to be.
right. I think a lot of people have that vision because again, that's what they always knew. That's what they thought, but that's not what it is anymore.
No,
We're working with robots and computers and, uh, you know,
millions of dollars worth of equipment.
yeah.
So,
And people need to really understand that. So, after your time with Ameritech, where did you go from there?
well, I spent some time on the floor at Ameritech, and then I ended up in the design department there. And I worked there for about 16 and a half years. And I'd say probably my curiosity got the best of me. That's something I think has favored me in this industry is I've always been curious about other things and what else I can do. And, that's how I ended up in design and designing molds and whatnot and got off the shop floor. And, in 2015, I had an opportunity and, decided to take it. I went to work for Technomark to be managing director of their tool shop, Accuchrome.
Yep.
And, I saw a whole new world of injection molding and injection mold building. I went from a shop that built very complex automotive tooling and industrial type tooling to a shop that was focused more on high tolerance packaging tooling and medical tooling, and it's all molding in the end, but it's definitely different. Different type of clients, different, just completely different mentality on how we built the molds. And and I stayed there for just shy of 5 years, managing the shop. I got a taste of quoting tooling. I handled all the quoting for the shop, managed the shop from pretty much from start to finish on anything that came through the shop. It was my responsibility. And I got a lot of exposure to other parts of the industry. I think I met a lot of people through the industry while working there. And definitely learned a lot. It was a great experience.
And Technomark is a huge company. I mean,
Right.
that place is a monster. I mean, it's a pretty large campus, and I think there's, I don't want to lie, what is it, 5, 6 buildings, something like that?
Yeah, just in Asheboro, and then they probably have, I don't know now, 10 to 12 worldwide.
Yeah.
Um,
And
so it was, they're definitely, a powerhouse in the industry. So like I said, it opened, it's where I got exposed to stack molds and, spin cubes and a lot of different type of molding that I probably wouldn't have seen if I hadn't have gone there.
how is that going from Ameritech, which is family run, smaller business, when you're comparing it to Technomark, which is this monster? How was that transition, and what were some of the issues or situations that you came across?
Well, it was definitely a lot more corporate and a lot less family feeling. Because everything is, at a small company like Ameritech, everything is, the owner of the company is ultimately making the final decision based off of, input from others, as to what's right for the company, what machines to buy and whatnot. Where, with a larger company, obviously you bring in boards of directors, and it was definitely harder to buy equipment and get stuff approved. In the end, they for the most part did what they needed to do to advance and everything and keep molds being built. But you get involved with a lot of different clients as well. I noticed, there's a lot more hoops to jump through when you get into the medical side of stuff. I think being involved in medical definitely taught me patience. We got kicked off on a lot of jobs, new builds that would be a year and a half before the molds were finally built, just because of all the stuff that happens on the front end. That was a shock to me then. But then just I guess the level of tooling blew my mind. When I first started looking at tooling for them and trying to quote something, the first job I quoted, I think, was $750,000 or something like that. And I looked at it and I was like, can't be right.
And then you probably look at it like I do, like a consumer, and you see that dollar and you're like, holy cow, there's no way they're going to go for this. There's just no way. But what I forget all the time is, those big companies that are doing that, their pocketbooks, their checking accounts, the zeros are just multiplied way more than mine, way more than our company. And so when I see those numbers, it's insane. But for them, that's just the cost of doing business. I mean, they make that quickly because that part is just turning out pieces like crazy, and each one of those pieces costs X amount of dollars, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's a lot different when you walk through a molding facility and you see parts. Some of their parts. We built 96 cavity tools running 10.5-second cycles. So you walk in and you see a mold open every 10.5 seconds. Dropping out essentially 100 parts. Going up a conveyor belt. That's just steady, full of parts dumping into a Gaylord, and it was an eye opener, but it was definitely a learning experience to see what else was out there. So.
And I think the other part of that is, every time it drops those parts, it's making money. So when there's an issue with that tool, if it needs maintenance, if something goes down, every second that it's on the bench waiting to be repaired, that's costing that company money. And that's why some of those timelines they seem unreasonable for repair and maintenance and things like that, because, man, they got to get that back up and running as quickly as possible, or otherwise the company's losing money.
Yeah. Well, we were the primary repair facility for them. Considering we were owned by them. So, we dealt with that a lot. That was definitely a lot of juggling, trying to build new molds. And at the same time, having a job show up in the back door where, there was a mold that was damaged. Unfortunately it happens. You like to think that it doesn't, but there's still the molds that get damaged on a daily basis.
Oh yeah.
that show up with, 10 cavities that were messed up, and you're trying to get them laser welded and, either machined or benched or whatever you got to do, and then repolish it and get it back out the door. And a lot of that was, just it's always a quick turnaround when it's
Oh yeah.
repaired. I'm sure you guys face that every day.
Oh yeah.
Somebody says something to weld, and you say how when you need it back, and it's always yesterday.
Yeah.
Uh,
I like to look at it that we're triage. Nobody schedules an emergency room visit, right? You
right.
just go there because something's broken. Your bone is sticking out of your skin.
Yeah.
You're not going to your primary care physician for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately,
And
it's already hit the fan by the time it gets to you.
exactly. So our job is get it fixed, get it back. We're the emergency room. That's the way we look at it over here. So after Technomark, after being involved there, what is it that makes you go, I'm gonna start my own thing. I'm gonna go out on my own. It's 2020. Why not? Why not? There's nothing else going on in the world.
Yeah.
Let's add some more chaos to my life.
Well, it started just at kind of as a casual conversation with an old buddy of mine that works in the industry. He works for a molder, and they have an in-house tooling place as well, and they build some tools, and they outsource some tools, and we were just talking about business in general, how things were going, and one thing he mentioned was they were just behind on getting tools designed. They had a bunch of designs that needed to be done, and just kind of jokingly, I said, well, hey, if you knew somebody knew how to design molds, wouldn't that be great? You could just send them to him. He could design them. They could send them back to you, and you could start building them. And he kind of laughed, and he's just like, well, do you have a computer and the software? And I was like, not anymore. I mean, I could get it, and just kind of one thing led to the other. I bought a laptop and leased the software for 3 months from SolidWorks, and got hit with a 4 mold package, in February of 2020, when, everything was kind of starting to get crazy and slow down, and people were starting to shut stuff down. And, it was cold outside. It was, getting dark early. I thought, it's a little bit of side income. Why not? I just, have a 1.5-year-old at home. I had my wife was pregnant. I thought a little extra money. Why not? So started doing it, and then actually, talked to another someone else in the industry, and kind of told him, it came up what I was doing, and he's like, hey, I got a mold, I'll send you. Before long, in that first 3 months, I'd already designed like, I don't know, 6 molds, 7 molds, and this was just on the side, working nights, working weekends, while the kids were napping, or while my daughter was napping and stuff, so just squeezing it in whenever I could, and it wasn't anything I ever really thought, hey, I'm going to take and do this, run with it, and do it full time. I designed molds for a long time, at Ameritech. And, then it kind of came up, one of them asked me, why don't you do this for yourself? We'd send you a steady stream of work. You could stay busy, and I talked to a couple other people that I knew and trusted in the industry. And, they're like, you're a great designer, you would more than stay busy, you wouldn't be able to keep up. And I was like, I don't know, and I kind of was scared of it a little bit, I mean, it was crazy times, my wife doesn't work, she's stay-at-home mom, she was pregnant,
Yep.
I'd have to buy health care, all the scary stuff of being in business for yourself. So as time went on, and it kind of got more and more busy. By 1st of August of last year, it got to the point where I just couldn't do it anymore. I wasn't sleeping. I was, working all day. I'd get up, I'd go to the Y, work out.
Yep.
I'd go to work all day. I'd come home, I'd spend a couple hours with the kids and eat dinner, and put my daughter to bed, and then I would work.
Yep.
And I would work until 1 o'clock in the morning. On mold designs, and then I'd get up and I'd repeat. And then, my son was born in June of last year, and now I had 2 kids at home, and it got to the point where I had to make a decision. Are you going to keep doing this, or are you going to just hang it up? And my lease I went ahead and did a second lease on my software, and it was the term was running out. I had to kind of crap or get off the pot, as they say. So I just took the plunge. I just one day talked to my wife. I said, I'm going to quit. I'm going to put in my notice. I'm going to quit. And she, fortunately, is very supportive of what I'm doing. And so through the spring, while I was also designing molds, I was building an office at my house. I was doing some remodeling and building an office and whatnot, getting the kids' room ready for when our son was born and all that stuff. And So I took the plunge, and basically the end of August last year, I went full time with it, and I mean, so far it's been great. I mean, I've
That's
had,
awesome.
it's strictly been with people that I already knew in the industry.
Yep.
Whenever I put in my notice, and that following week, I had people that I've known for years calling me saying, "Hey, I heard you quit. We want to do work with you." And then, I do a lot of work with molders on
Hmm.
the front end. I do DFM, analysis for people and look at their part models before they even send it to a tool shop to design it, and help them get their parts in order and make sure what they're quoting to their customers, or to the OEM, is even moldable and buildable. Get involved in on the front end with that, and then that a lot of time leads to working with new tool shops that I've never known.
Yep.
And I don't like being, thought of being just an outsource. I don't want to bounce from company to company and design a mold for you today and for another company tomorrow. I try to be what I consider like an extension of someone's internal engineering department. When I get involved, with a company and they want me to design a mold, I'm going to take it and I'm going to work with their tooling engineer. I'm going to work with Husky or Moldmaster or whoever the hot runner supplier is. I'm going to work with their OEM, their customer, and I'm going to present the tool to them. I
Yeah.
don't pass the tool off to them, unless they want it that way, but if they want me to be involved, I get involved, 100%. I'm going to be on the meetings with the customer. I'm going to present it. If the customer's got questions, they email me directly and copy the mold builder. And,
Yep.
and that has led to some great relationships. I've made some relationship with a couple packaging companies, up out of, the Midwest and northern states that have passed me along to other companies in your area, that I've got mold builds out of, or mold designs out of. So,
And all of
um,
that is based around trust, right? Like the only reason that works is because those companies that you worked for or that you knew, they could trust that you weren't going to try and cut them out of the equation and go directly to their customer.
right,
You're more focused on building that relationship and helping everybody to grow together. Like you said, being an extension of that tool room. We look at things a lot the same way. I think that's why you and I hit it off so well. Is our business models are very similar. Um, we want to work with the people around us to make everybody's life a little bit easier. Uh, it's not just about what are we going to get out of this, but how are we going to help somebody else get what they need to be successful. I think that's a big difference. There's some people out there that are just so cutthroat that if there's a door that's open, they're going to kind of wiggle their way through it and try and steal everything for themselves instead of working
right.
with the people that are around them.
Well, and in the end, I mean, it's terrible for your reputation, which
Yeah.
in this industry, in my opinion, reputation is everything. I mean,
Yes.
let's face it. If I try to be active on LinkedIn as much as I can and still design molds and get my work done. I try to be active and try to build relationships there. But if I reach out to a new company on LinkedIn and I just go out and say, "Hey, I'd like to design molds for you," why would they use me?
Right.
Why are they going to break from what they're currently doing? What's going to make them say, "Hey, I got Bill over here that designs for me every day. Why do I want to use this guy?"
Right.
So I think that's where, to me, it's important for networking and building those relationships and that trust, so that a tool shop will recommend me to another tool shop, or a mold an actual molder or an OEM will say, "Hey, I've used this guy in the past. You're going to build this tool for me. Can you use him for your mold design? I'd like for you to use him." And that has happened quite a bit, to be honest with you. I've been very fortunate that that's happened.
I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, the word you said that's so important is trust, right? You only want to work with and do business with people you trust. Nobody wants to work with that shyster guy, or you hear a story about somebody and they say, I would avoid this person like the plague. You're going to do that. Now,
Right.
if somebody says you can trust them, I trust them. I mean, it's irreplaceable. Your reputation is that one thing that you can't build yourself, right? Because your reputation is how other people see you, not how you see you, and you can't manufacture that. That comes from time and trust and relationships,
Yeah,
which
and I
is
think wanting to help people, like you mentioned, is huge in that. I mean, like, if you guys have an issue with something, or need assistance with something, and I can help, why wouldn't I help you?
right.
What do I have to lose by helping someone? Is the way I look at it. I mean, if someone reached out to me, and even if another mold designer or a shop was to reach out to me and say, "Hey, we need some help with this. How should our designer do this?" I'm I'm not going to be above it to say, I'm going to help that person. I mean, because, what do I have to lose? I mean, I guess you could say I'm losing my business if I help someone else and teach someone how to do something, but I think there's enough business to go around. And I think if you're good enough at what you do and people value what you do, they're still going to use you, even though you've helped someone else figure out how to do something.
And you even helped us with converting SRT files. I mean, it's a matter of, Zig Ziglar says it, help enough people get what they want and need, and you'll get what you want and need.
Right.
I serve at our church and our Awanas program and the Vacation Bible School and all that stuff. And when we were talking with the different leaders, one of the things that we tell, whether it's, high school leaders, junior high leaders, adult leaders, is make sure the kids are having more fun than you are, right? Make sure that the people that you are serving and leading and working over are getting more out of the day than you are. And take care of those people and put yourself out a little bit to make sure that the people around you are taken care of. And if you do that, it's going to come back in spades.
Oh, yeah.
That's not the reason to do it. The reason to do it is because it's the right thing to do, right? That's the integrity part of it. But you also know that when you serve, when you give back, when you help, when you say, hey, listen, I can convert that SRT file for you, it takes you 15 minutes. But for us, we remember it. And then when we have a mold to build, we go, we should call Richard. He's helped us out before. If he could help us out with this thing that doesn't matter at all, I'm sure he could do this. And so it builds that reputation that you become that go-to person for whatever situation is coming up. And if you can't do it, there's a good chance that you know somebody that can. And then you can refer that person and circumnavigate it, and you become that hub of resources for whatever problems come up. And I think so many people, whether it's in life or work or business or whatever, they spend too much time looking at, what am I going to get out of this? How is this going to benefit me? I can't just give my time and not get anything back, when in reality, you're getting more back than you think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of that is just some of it's manners, I guess. But, I mean, I was taught at a young age to work hard, and to be polite to people. I mean, growing up on a farm, there is no quitting time, really. I mean, you quit when you're done, when
I like
we
that.
had tobacco fields, you couldn't just stop because it was the end of, you're ready to call it quits at 5 o'clock. You stopped whenever the tobacco barn was full of tobacco. The chicken houses, they lay eggs and you have to pick them up. They don't stop laying eggs because it's Sunday or Saturday or whatever. So, I mean,
Just pull a feather and turn them off.
yeah,
Stop.
I mean,
No more eggs, chicken.
So I was taught that worth ethic at a pretty young age, but then also, just general, I guess, gratitude towards others and helping others. Holding doors for people. I mean, You see people that some people are just rude, in general, and they don't want to help people at all. Whether it be in their personal lives or their business lives. I think they want to show up, do their job, get paid, and that's it, and same thing with their, and I think that reflects to their personal life as well, and me personally, I like people, I like being around people, talking to people, and just, helping people. I'm the guy that's going to pick up the phone and call somebody and talk to them for 30 minutes about something versus just shooting an email and asking them questions. I value those relationships, and, I guess part of it is, like I said, I look at it, what do I have to lose? It's not like it's going to make me look like a weak person or a bad person because I took my time to help someone else in a time of need.
No. And the other part of it is there's got to be gratitude on the other side of it too, or there should be, right? Even those simple things, you hold the door for somebody, that person should smile and say, thank you. That's just common courtesy. And that doesn't always happen either. And, hopefully Mary Kate was very appreciative when you converted those files for us. I know I was, and I'm pretty sure she was. She's nodding. Yes, that she was.
Yes, I'd agree.
But I think that goes a long way too, because you get that reciprocation, and hopefully that person wants to then go do something else for the next person. She's telling me that Steve Hack is on from Prodigy Mold. Steve, how are you? If you have questions, comments, concerns, please put them in the chat and let us know. I believe you two are golfing together at the outing. So
we are. Yeah, we're teaming up.
That's good.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure I got somebody that didn't care how poorly I played.
Well, the good news about our outing is nobody cares how poorly anybody plays. Last year, we had 122 golfers loaded up to the max that we could on one course, and we had 6 teams turn in scorecards. So this outing is not about who's going to win the event. It's about who's going to have the most fun, donate the most money, have the biggest impact, and have stories to tell later. It's if you're there to win and play serious golf. Listen, I'm just going to tell you, you should go to a different outing because you're just going to be frustrated with us, and that's just a fact. Steve says we are going to win this thing, really. So listen, I wish you all the best, Steve. I hope you do win it.
We're going to win at having the most fun.
Yeah, we had one.
My golf club that Glenn sent me.
Oh, very nice.
So we can even have the most music.
Nice. We had one person at one of our outings. They said, "So what does it usually take to win this thing?" And I said, "Cash." So you can win first place and pay for it. That's fine. If it means that much to you, I will sell first place today, and the rest of us will just play for second because I don't care. Our goal is to make the most money for iWarriors and make the biggest impact we can for the people that matter, and that's why we do it. So it's going to be good. It's going to be a good event. It's going to be a good day. Enjoying the podcast. This is Silas Mercer. I'm enjoying the podcast. I've worked with Richard before, and he's a great guy to work with. How about that? You're getting shout outs and kudos from people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Silas is a great guy. He's a great polisher. So he's doing his own thing in the Ashburn area. So,
awesome.
Super great guy.
And that's what's cool to see is how those relationships are built and formed and they continue going. Silas, are you going to join us and come out to the golf outing? It sounds like you could golf with Richard and Steve. Steve's bringing the bourbon. See, that's how this outing gets kicked off. We're still a ways out, and Steve is bringing the bourbon. So that's what happens when we have the outing. It's a fun day, and it's, to me, it's what our business and what our industry is all about. It's a bunch of different mold makers, molders, industry experts coming together to make an impact on the community and for people. And really, to me, that's what mold makers are. They're not just, creating some plastic parts. They're finding solutions to challenges that we as a society have and coming together and do that together. And I think that's why I like it so much, whether it's the AMBA or the SPE or, put whatever business association acronym you want together. I have not run into many selfish people that are not interested in mentoring and helping and seeing the industry grow and change.
Oh, it's a great community. I mean, and now you look at the people in this industry is very down to earth, great people to talk to. I mean, people that you want to spend time with when you're not working. I mean, there's a lot of people in this trade I've met through the years that, I consider great friends that I still talk to on a regular basis, that I don't work with them anymore, but I still talk to them.
Yep.
I mean, they're just great people. I mean,
yep.
And that's the kind of people you want to work with. I've been fortunate. I haven't ran across any customers yet that I look at as, wow, I really don't like this person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I do, I'll be honest with you, I don't know that I would continue doing work with them. I want to work with people that I enjoy, people that I can talk to and, build a relationship with and, actually enjoy my time spent on the phone with them or talking to them. So
my dad taught me a long time ago, if you've got somebody that you don't want to work with, and like you, fortunately, we really haven't had that situation. But if you've got somebody that you really don't want to work with, you never want to turn down work. You just tell them it's going to be like way up here. And if they say yes, you make some money and then you charge more the next time. Now, You don't do that for everybody. This is the people you don't want to work with. And, I think just like there is a benefit to being kind to people and helping people, there's also a penalty for being a jerk. And if you're one of those people that's a jerk, you should be charged more because you're high maintenance and you're going to make my life hell.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it depends on your personal beliefs of how you're looking at it. But, there's some people say what goes around comes around. There's karma, whatever. I consider it blessings. If you're willing
Amen.
to bless other people, then I think you'll be blessed in the end as well. I mean, Unfortunately, it's easy to look around and see a lot of people getting stuff that you feel like they don't deserve because they are jerks in life and they do a lot of terrible things, but they still seem to get a lot of stuff. But I try to stand my ground on it, and a firm believer that if you do enough good in the world, then it'll definitely come back and bless you in the end.
And likewise, we can say, depending on your belief, I think we have similar beliefs. I'm really glad that I don't get what I deserve. So, uh, you know, I'm glad that I have grace and mercy and forgiveness in my life in different areas. I am beyond blessed and thankful that I don't get what I deserve. So it's one of those things that I try to remember, even with employees or customers or just people around you. Somebody cuts you off, it's easy to be upset, or somebody comes in late or they're late on a job or whatever that is. Man, am I glad that I'm not judged for everything I do wrong every
Right.
second of my life. So, I think that's a thing that I think businesses and people need to remember, is to give people more grace and forgiveness in situations that they're going through. I thought you'd have a comment to that. Nothing. That's okay. So everybody that's listening, we're wondering, what associations are you belonging to? Are you involved in them? Are you getting any benefit from them? Or did you sign up just to put the logo on your website or whatever you're doing? Let us know how you're feeling about some of that stuff. Richard, I know you just recently joined us on the SPE board. What's your goal with being part of the SPE?
Yeah, I signed up. I think I've mentioned to you before. I signed up back earlier this year when
Yep.
listened to you and Brenda talk about it on the podcast, and I thought it's not a very big investment to join. Why not? What do I got to lose to join? And I signed up, and I guess I was one of the people that signed up and was just a dormant member for a while, and then I talked to you and Scott a little bit about what the options were for getting more involved, and my intent is to just be more involved in the industry. I'd
Yep.
like to see how I can give back to the industry. It's not necessarily about, hey, I want to make sure that everybody knows about me and knows about Reaction Plastics. I want to know what can I do and what can Reaction Plastics do to help the industry. What can I do to go out and part of what looking at doing is being the liaison between a few of the different organizations. There's been some emails between you and Scott and myself about that, and I really like the thought of that, of bringing some other people to get them involved and say, this is what the SPE is, this is what we're doing, and talking to the AMBA or even some apprenticeship programs or or technical colleges, whatever, just to kind of start bridging a lot of that stuff together a little bit more and bring everyone together to to kind of work together a little bit better. I think there's a lot of great organizations out there. If you look, there's organizations all over this kind of region specific that's doing their own thing, like manufacturing support for like the Illinois area or
Yep.
the Midwest or whatever. But there's not to what I've seen, there's not a lot of connection between all of those organizations to work together and allow people to give back. And I'm small scale. I'm not a $1 billion industry. I'm not a 100-man shop or anything. So I can't support an apprenticeship program, but I can support with my knowledge. What I do, what I know, what I've learned, and I can give back to the industry basically just with that information, and basically with my time. So that's what I'd like to get out of something like the SPE.
Yeah, and I think that's key, right? And you signed up and got involved pretty quickly. I know you say that you were dormant for a little while, but I think that's like a month. You were active pretty quickly. I know people that are part of organizations that somebody told them that they should sign up because they should, and they do, and they don't participate in meetings, they don't go to things, and then you ask them, how is the SPE for you, and they're like, I'm probably going to quit. Well, what are you doing there? Nothing. Well, that's why you don't get anything out of it.
You're paying a yearly membership. That's all you're doing.
That's it. And if you're paying a yearly membership to get a newsletter, listen, I love John Berg. John Berg does a great job on our newsletter, but I wouldn't pay a yearly membership for our newsletter. I think
Right.
you got to find way more value in an organization than you get, 100 pages of newsletter a year. That's not worth it. That's not worth putting your name on something. That's not worth saying you're involved in something. I'm one of those people like you are that wants to, if you're going to get involved, you're going to get involved. Right. And
I'm gonna dive in.
you're not gonna go halfway on it.
Right.
You want to make an impact. You want to leave your mark, and you want to see whatever you're doing grow and be better, not just stay stagnant. So,
Right.
we want to be able to do those things. We want to be able to grow. We want to be able to get other people involved. We want to create a program with the SPE, especially that's the one I can speak to, that these kids that we're talking about, that we want to mentor, that we want to come up in the industry, have somewhere that they can go and learn more stuff, that they can take to the next level, that they can better themselves and what they're doing. And I'm super excited to have you on the board because I know that you care and you're passionate about it. So that's awesome. So what I got to ask, who are some of the kinds of companies or the projects that you're looking to get involved with in a unique way that maybe other companies can't do?
You mean from my design standpoint?
Yeah, yeah. As far as work, who are you looking to work with? What companies are you looking to work with, and how can they utilize your talents best?
Well, I mean, I guess you want to say everybody, but that's not realistic. But definitely mold builders that are lacking capacity in their internal engineering department, or even lacking the I guess the experience of some stuff. I've had a lot of experience with very complex tooling for automotive, designing airbag tooling with lots of moving parts, lifters and slides, and just stacking stuff on top of each other. I like working with the customers that have a challenge. I recently worked on a tool for a local molder that the part is it's a some sort of valve that it's got ports on all three sides of it, and threaded ports on all three sides of it, and it's got some holes going through it to shut off against the threads. And the part was currently being manufactured with hand load inserts and a mixture of hand loads and secondary operations, actually machining threads in the plastic part after it comes out of the mold. And worked with the molder to look at the part, and basically we come up with an idea and put it into design. And he's currently building a tool that is 100% automated. When it comes out of the mold, now it's going to be fully 100% finished. All the threads are formed by the tool, all the holes in it are formed by the tool, and it's going to drop out of the part, out of the tool, and ready to go to his customer. So I like working through challenges like that. Anybody that's got something, I'll take the easy stuff too any day. That's easy work. But anybody that's got a challenging project, needs the support, for complex designs. Complexity can be multiple things. A lot of moving parts in a mold, or it can be higher cavitation molds, higher tolerance stuff. People that are truly looking for someone to build that relationship with,
Yep.
that they can just keep working with. They can send me an email and say, hey, I got a part, I'm quoting for my customer. Look, what do you think about this? How should I quote this? And then I'm going to help them, with that, on my own time, hoping that I'm going to get a mold design out of them, obviously.
Yeah.
But those are the type of clients I'm looking for.
So here's a question, and we got about 10 minutes left on the show. I'd love to hear from other people listening. What are you looking for in a mentor and a mentee relationship, right? So like Steve Rotman was a good mentor for you. I'm sure there's other people in your industry. What is it that you got out of Steve or learned from Steve that you're taking on that you want to pass on to the next people? And if you're listening, put that in the chat. Like, how are you mentoring the people below you, or what are you looking for in a mentor?
My thought of a mentor is someone that is with you enough to basically gives you the resources you need to succeed, but also gives you the freedom to experiment, do some things on your own and learn, but is there when you need them to make sure that, you're not just going way off topic, way off path, obviously, and someone that's going to tell you the bad with the good. I mean, it's easy to find people that tell you you're doing a great job, but it's hard to find someone that's going to work with you and give you that constructive criticism because they want to help you, not because they're trying to put you down. I think as a mentor, it's very important to coach people and show them why what they're doing isn't right, but explain it in a way where they don't leave the conversation feeling stupid.
I think that,
what are you doing? Why are you doing it that way?
yeah, That is so crucial, I think, to any kind of feedback or, um, you know, uh, when you're talking to people, whether you're even doing, reviews at the end of the year, is you can't not tell people the truth, right? Not telling people the truth is not loving. It's not kind. You have to tell people the truth, but you have to do it in a way that they're willing to accept it. And I
Right.
think I think sometimes it's both sided, where if you're being told something, you got to humble yourself a little bit to realize, yeah, I don't do everything perfectly and I need to be better at certain things. And this person is trying to help me. And at the same time, you got to look at it as the person giving advice and build up and tell the truth at the same time.
Right. Well, I mean, I think you're doing someone an injustice by not telling them if there's
Yes.
something they need to improve on. I mean, if someone goes through life and you just, as their mentor, if you just keep telling them, yeah, you're doing great, but they're really not, how are you helping that person? In the end, when it comes down to to the day of reckoning or whatever, and they got to prove themselves and they can't, well, then they're
Right.
going to look at, they're going to look at you as a mentor and say, I can't do this. You've been hyping me up this whole time. And I think some of it is being a cheerleader, you
Yep.
know, that's, something Steve, I think I stole that from Steve Rottman. He's always told me he's my biggest cheerleader is what he's always said. And, I think that's part of it is just boosting people's morale and, boosting their confidence and making them think, hey, I can do this,
Yeah.
but at the same time, looking at them and saying, hey, what you're doing isn't exactly how you want to do that to get where you need to be. And, I like what you're doing, I like your enthusiasm or whatever, but, that's not going to work.
I think one of the other things that you got to watch out for is indifference, just not giving any kind of feedback. If somebody's doing something that needs to be improved or talked about, and you just keep letting it go and letting it go and letting it go till you get fed up and you go, listen, this isn't working. You got to go. Like, they don't know what's going on. They didn't have a chance to improve or better their situation. And so you're doing a disservice to yourself and to that person if you care about them at all. And
Right.
it's important to give people the positives and the negatives, like we've said, right? You can't have the good news without the bad news. You can't say you're doing really good at this, and not tell them, yeah, but this needs to get a little bit better. And then same right, you got to be able to find good things to go with bad things and use them as learning experiences. And I think, like you said, instead of just saying this is wrong, you can ask, why did you do it this way? How did you come up to this solution? What was your thinking in this process? And let them tell you so that you can take that information and go, oh, okay, I see what you were doing there. What if we tried this instead?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it is just being a personable person. I mean, it's like when you walk up to somebody at the shop, and if the first thing you do is you walk up to them and say, hey, I need you to do this, go work on this, go do that, versus walking up and saying, hey, how's your morning going? What'd you do? How was your weekend? Whatever, and actually being a person with somebody.
Yeah.
And then saying, oh, when you get done with what you're working on, and you mind taking a look at this,
Right.
I think that's, in my opinion, is night and day difference on the reaction you get out of someone when you're working with them. And that, that's kind of the mentality I tried to have when I was, at Accuchrome and Technomark was, to have that approach with people. And I think it, fared well for me.
You have to care about people and realize that they're more than a job. They're living, breathing people that you are living in life with. And
Yeah.
and that's important. Mary Kate just sent me a message and said she was matched with a mentor in school, and a Loyola alum named Rob Steven. We've talked with him. He's helped us with a few things. And she said he's helped me since my junior year of college, through my job search, even here at Alliance, building our marketing plan. Yep, we keep in touch about families, life, work. It's a well-rounded relationship, and it's important. Yeah, it's a person that you can trust, that has been through this before, and they take an interest in you, and they want to see you succeed for no other reason than they like you and they want to see you succeed. That's a solid relationship. I think that's a solid relationship for anything, right? If you take an interest in somebody and you want to see them succeed because you like them and you want to see them succeed, not how it's going to help you.
Right. And I mean, why do you want to go through and try to approach everything in life on your own?
Yeah,
I
we are
mean,
not designed to be solitary creatures.
right.
If we were, we'd all be the same and we'd be incredibly boring. but that is not the case. We got a few minutes left, so if you saw it, Mary Kate put a sign up there. Yeah, put any prayer requests that you have in the comments below. We are a positive, optimistic show. I hope you got that out of today. And one of those things that we take very seriously is prayer, and we think that prayer is one of the most optimistic, positive things you can do, because you're giving thanks and you're laying your problems before somebody that can actually do something about them. So, if you have any prayer requests, please put them in the chat. Richard, before we get to that, is there anything else that you want to cover or go over or throw out there for people?
No, I don't think so. I really appreciate you having me on, and I always enjoy the podcast. So it's great to be on here and
one of the things I want to do when you come out for the golf outing is I want to introduce you to our guy Mike Zender, who runs our mold maintenance department. I think that there's some synergy there that could work out. I'd love to find ways to get you tapped into some of the stuff that we do, just based on knowing you for this little bit that I have, and the way that you care about customers and projects and companies that you work with, and your passion for what you do. It's not just a job. It's you trying to make actual improvements for people's lives and end results. So I'm still trying to find a way to be able to get us to work together. And I think when you come out for the outing, getting to meet some of our team could open the door to more of that down the line and in the future. So
you guys have an open house too, right?
I'm sorry?
You're having an open house during that week too, right?
Yeah, we are having an open house. This is the most crowded week ever. I don't know what we were thinking. If we could pull all this off in this week, it's going to be amazing and awesome. But yeah, we're having an open house. So the outing starts around 11:30, give or take. This is Alliance time. And so we're going to have an open house at our building, which is probably 15 minutes away from the golf course, probably starting around 9 o'clock. Maybe a little bit earlier than that. We'll have some breakfast, some tours around the facility, and then we'll head up to the outing, get lunch. People can use the driving range. They can grab a beer, 2, 3, get loosened up, ready to play, and then we'll kick off when we kick off. It's a loose time frame. Like I said, the whole purpose is for people to have a good time. So yeah,
for a good cause.
I'm looking forward to you guys being out there. So I'm gonna pray for us real quick, and then I will take us out and. Let's do that. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for Richard and everything he does for his customers, for the people around him, for his desire to be a mentor and lead people well. I pray that we would seek to you to see how to be a leader, how to care for people, how to love people and look out for people and grow people, and do that in a way that shows light and not darkness. I pray for all the people who are sick or depressed or lonely or sad today, not knowing where to turn or what's going to happen next. And I pray that they would feel your presence and they would know that you're there, and that you would watch over us, that you would bless us, and that everything we would do would bring you glory. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Richard, thank you, my friend. I appreciate everything you do, not just for us, but for the industry. It's awesome to get to know you a little bit better. I look forward to September, and I look forward to seeing what you continue to do in the industry. I think it's awesome. So thanks for being part of the show.
All right. Thank you.
All right, everybody. I just want to thank you once again for participating in the chat. Silas, Steve, my brother. I know there's other people watching and you're just shy and you don't want to talk, and that's fine. That's fine. You will come around and you'll be part of the show. You will be an official part of the Manufacturing Alliance, and it'll be awesome. But on behalf of myself, Alliance, Richard, and everybody else, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Take care, and God bless.